Morning, calling this Enforcement Advisory Committee meeting to order. I'm Doug Aguilera. I'm a CPA. October 5th, and I would also like to introduce our new EAC member, Jeffrey DeLizer. I'm very happy to welcome him back to the Enforcement Advisory Committee. Mr. DeLizer is presently serving on the Peer Review Oversight Committee, where he has served as chair and vice chair. Additionally, Mr. DeLizer served on this committee from July 21st, 2011 to July 31st, 2019, including as chair and vice chair. We're confident that Mr. DeLizer possesses the skills and knowledge necessary for the EAC to support the CBA in its enforcement program and are excited to have him serve on the EAC again. Thank you for being here. Do you want to give us a 1 minute, 2 minute introduction of yourself?
That was a pretty good introduction. I'm Jeff. I'm a recycled EAC member, but excited to be here. And I enjoyed the time that I spent on the EAC before, and I'm looking forward to this appointment as well.
1 second or 50 seconds, 30 seconds on your practice. What is it that you do as a CPA?
Okay, I'm a CPA. Our firm is based out of Roseville, California, here local. We're a full-service public accounting firm, provide audit, financial statement services, as well as tax and management consulting. Primarily focused in areas of real estate, particularly federally subsidized housing for low income and elderly, and also a lot of non-for-profit organizations. That practice is really growing for us. I've been a CPA in California since 06, I think, and before that I was in Nevada from 93 to then, and so excited to be here.
Thank you. We're glad you're here. Thanks for agreeing to rejoin. The CBA has provided the opportunity for the public to participate via the WebEx platform. When we take public comments, we will begin by taking public comment from those individuals attending the meeting at the California Board of Accountancy headquarters. I will then ask the moderator to open up the lines for public comment. You will be allotted up to 5 minutes for public comment. And now we'd like to establish a quorum. I'm also noting that EAC member Mr. Tagmeyer will be participating via WebEx. There will be no members of the public at his location. And now, Ms. Whipley, would you take roll call and establish a quorum?
Doug Aguilera?
Present.
Kathy Johnson? Present. Jeff DeLizer?
Present.
Nasi Raytheon? Present. Jason Russell?
Present.
Chris Tedmeyer?
Present.
Jennifer Ziegler-Benjamin?
Present.
We have a quorum.
Thank you, Ms. Whitley. The CBA's mission is to protect consumers by ensuring only qualified licensees practice public accountancy in accordance with established professional standards. This mission is derived from the statutory requirement that protection of the public shall be the highest priority for the California Board of Accountancy in exercising its licensing, regulatory, and disciplinary functions. Whenever the protection of the public is inconsistent with other interests sought to be promoted, the protection of the public shall be paramount. The next item on our agenda is item 2B, which is the approval. First of all, item 1, I'd like to ask, are there any public comments for items not on the agenda? Any public comments here in Sacramento? Any public comments Moderator, would you open up WebEx to see if there's any public comments online?
Yes, this is the moderator. I open up the Q&A feature, WebEx. For those who are logged in, you can click on the question mark inside of the square, typically lower right corner of your WebEx screen, and type the word comment in the text field and make sure it goes to all panelists before you click send. I see no requests. Would you like me to close the Q&A feature?
Yes, please. Thank you. Moving on to agenda item 2B, approval of the July 13th, 2023 Enforcement Advisory Committee meeting minutes. Does any member wish to make a motion?
This is Kathy, so moved.
Jason Russell, second.
Are there any questions or comments from our members? Are there any questions or comments from our members? Are there any questions or comments from the public here in Sacramento? Moderator, will you open up the lines to see if there are any public comments online?
Yes, this is the moderator. The Q&A is open. The instructions are on the screen. Just click that question mark, type comment, send it to all panelists. No requests. Would you like me to close the Q&A?
Yes, thank you. Ms. Whiffley, will you take a roll call vote?
Doug Aguilera,
Approve.
Jeff DeLyser,
Abstain.
Kathy Johnson, approved. Nasi Raytheon,
Approved.
Jason Russell,
Approved.
Chris Tetmeyer,
Abstain.
Jennifer Ziegler Benjamin, abstain. Motion passes.
Thank you. Agenda item 3, which is the report of the California Board of Accountancy Liaison. We're fortunate this morning to have Ms. Ward here, who is a member of the Board of Accountancy. I'll turn it over to you now. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, Chair Aguilar and members of EAC. I am CBA member Evangeline Ward. I will be providing a report of the July and September CBA meetings, July 27th and 28th of 2023. So we started first with our July meeting. We continued our discussion on modifications to the CBA's disciplinary guidelines and model orders. In addition to making some various non-substantive changes, we approved regulatory language to add NASBA Center for Public Trust Ethical Leadership Training as a possible standard term and condition of probation. We also updated language for our rehabilitation evidence section to provide some guidance to individuals that petition the CBA for a reduction of penalty associated with reducing costs for an administrative pay. I'm sorry, I'm thinking my own job, pay, administrative penalty. Another regulatory item for CBA took up was an approval of some regulatory text to add a new regulation describing the procedure for reinstating surrendered licenses when the initial surrender of a license was a result of an enforcement matter. Our staff also provided a proposed plan to allow the Peer Review Oversight Committee and staff to perform an annual site visit. Staff proposed a temporary procedure for conducting the 2023 site visits that will also serve to provide useful information towards a long-term plan. Are there any questions from the members regarding July CBA meeting? September 21, 22 of 2023. Now as for our most recent meeting in September, the CBA held its meeting at a non-CBA office location for the first time in 4 years. We had the opportunity to meet on campus of Cal Poly Pomona. During our meeting, we continued to discuss the Sunset Review Report, which will be submitted to the legislature by early January. The CBA approved modified regulatory language regarding the sale, transfer, or discontinuance of a licensee practice. The modified language is presently noticed for public comment. Also, I'm excited to note that during our meeting, CBA members and our staff had the opportunity to conduct several outreach events and activities. We held presentations with members, spoke to both undergraduate and graduate students, conducted a meet and mingle opportunity for students to interact with CBA members, met with faculty at Cal Poly Pomona, and the staff did several hours of transcript reviews for students. Are there any questions regarding the September CBA meeting? The CBA will hold its next meeting in person at the CBA office on November 16th and 17th of 2023. And if I could just add my own comment real fast, I attended the meeting in Pomona, and it was amazing. I'm not a CPA, I'm a dental hygienist, but I hope that other professional organizations do the same thing. It was amazing to have an interaction with the students, and it was welcoming, and it was like, this is like super nice. Yeah. Thank you.
Welcome, and thank you for that update. You were able to talk to the students and the faculty. Did any of them talk about barriers to becoming a CPA or challenges?
A couple of them just mentioned the pathways. So that was something that they were happy that the pathways were changing. One student, she was an older student, and so this was like her, I won't say second career, but she had did so much work already and wanted to be a CPA, but there was barriers where she couldn't become a CPA. So she spoke of that, different pathways. She appreciated it.
Great. That's great feedback. Thanks.
Yeah, it was really nice.
Any more questions?
This is Kathy. Just a comment. As an adjunct professor myself, I know how important those visits are, and students do have questions, and I think it's really important that they get to see members of the CBA board live to realize it's not just this place where they send an email to that you're approachable. So again, as an adjunct professor, I also like to say thank you for that outreach directly to the students.
Thank you. I agree. I'm an instructor for dental hygiene, and for whatever reason, students feel like it's a big place, it's scary, they're out to get you, and don't realize, no, it's just like a handful of people, and we're here to help you. So I think they like, oh, this is nice. Yeah, it was good. Thank you.
I will now move on to agenda item 4. Ms. O'Connor, our Deputy Enforcement Chief, will provide a report.
Good morning. The activity before you today is for the full fiscal year of 2022-23. The CBA received nearly 4,600 complaints. The graph on the bottom of page 1 of the report provides a comparison of the total complaints received as of the same reporting period for the prior 2 fiscal years. You will see that compared with the prior 2 fiscal years, we have received an increase, a 68% increase over fiscal year 2020-21, and a 4% increase from fiscal year 2021-22. Moving on to page 2, we have included information on the top 3 complaint types, with complaints regarding unlicensed activity being the top complaint. I'll now move on to the investigations and investigations pending. On page 3, staff closed just over 5,000 cases, with 99% closed within 1 year. Enforcement had just shy of 1,700 cases in its pending investigations inventory. You will see an increase of pending cases in the 6 to 12 month bracket compared to fiscal year 2021-22, and this is due largely to the influx in the number of unlicensed complaints received. There were 2 cases over 24 months, which were still actively being investigated, and you will see that the average age of our open cases was at 111 days. Discipline-related information can be found on page 4 of the report. Looking first at AG referrals, the CBA referred 38 matters to the AG and filed 28 pleadings, with the majority being accusations. And the CBA had 24 matters pending at the AG's office, and the CBA had taken action on 37 final disciplinary orders. I'll now move on to page 5 regarding citation and fines. The CBA issued 463 citations, with 61% of those citations being for violations related to the 2012 continuing education requirement. The CBA received 64 citation and fine appeals, and we have withdrawn or modified 45 of the citations based on those appeals. In most cases, the licensee either provided new mitigating evidence or complied with the issue that resulted with the issuance of the citation. Page 6 contains information regarding unlicensed activity, and the CBA had received over nearly 2,200 complaints regarding unlicensed activity. We have closed 2,430 investigations through the entire fiscal year, with the majority being closed as a result of compliance. Page 7 is probation monitoring. And as of June 30th, we had 82 individuals on probation. We identified 49 probation violations, with the majority being failure to submit the written quarterly report. And then after the enforcement activity report, you will find the report of accusations filed and final disciplinary orders for the period of June 1st through August 31st, 2023. At this time, I'd like to turn discussion over to Chair Aguilera and would be happy to answer any questions members may have.
Does anyone have any comments or questions for Ms. O'Connor?
Ms. O'Connor, this is Kathy Johnson. I have just a couple of questions. The first one is on page 7, and the increase in complaints appears to primarily come from renewal deficiency increase. In 2021-22, we had 819, and then that jumped up to 1,127. Any just idea or sense of the renewal increase versus the other types of like unlicensed activity went down in terms of total complaints, and peer review related went down?
Which page?
It's on page 2 of 7.
I don't have an exact answer on why the renewal deficiency increased 6% over the last fiscal year. I don't have that.
Yeah. And that's okay. Just wondering if you had a sense of what was happening there. And then the other question that I had was on it's on page 3 of 7, mm-hmm. and the pending, where we have our average age of open cases is at 111. Last year it was at 57, which was a really significant decrease from the 2020-21 year. It went down to 57, but then it increased back up to 111. Any sense of, is it complexity or?
No, it's just the sheer volume of the investigations we're receiving. So we are working to address and keep the number as low as possible. But the reason for the added number of days for this fiscal year would just be the sheer volume of cases we're working through. Thank you.
Okay, I have a question. This is Nazi Raytheon. The volume didn't really increase that much between 21-22 to 22-23. I mean, it increased a lot between 2021, but between the last 2 years, it hasn't increased a lot. So can you explain why? Is it lack of staff? Is it?
It's not lack of staff. I just think it's some more investigations that maybe are taking some more time and some more complexity, as well as the increase in the number that we're receiving. This fiscal year, we received more than we have any other fiscal year as far as complaints received. So that is one of the reasons why I would see that increase.
No, I understand. It's just that the increase was only about 4%. So
I think that if we looked at the numbers, you would see the pending investigations at the end of 2021-22 being increased. Those probably came in right at the end of the reporting period. So those probably lowered the number of days if they were the total average.
Timing difference.
Timing issues. Thank you.
I have a question. Jason Russell. So, on page 6 of 7, on the complaints received, what's the definition of internal versus, obviously external is probably our website or something along those lines, but.
Yeah, it could be something that's been referred from another division. The licensing division came across something, so referred it over to the enforcement division, renewal unit as well.
Okay, would it internal include another state agency like the Franchise Tax Board or anything?
No.
Okay, so it's just CBA.
Correct.
Thank you.
Can you just catch me up to speed a little bit? I know a little bit about, 2,000 complaints of unlicensed activity is dramatically more unlicensed activity than we saw in my previous stint. And I understand that you now have a what do we call it? A super referrer. But what is the activity? Is it mostly advertising activity that for somebody that's not licensed, or we didn't change the website after we dropped our CPA license? Or is it actually somebody holding themselves out to be a CPA and performing an audit without an actual CPA license?
So I can speak very generally in that most of the increase in the cases that you're noticing is due to advertising on a specific social media platform. Okay. So it's not, most of these are not related to the other situations that you have recommended.
This is Kathy Johnson. One more question, sorry. On page 4 of 7, and that's just a clarification, can you let us know, default decision, what is the meaning of those again?
Yes, it's when the board has filed an accusation and the respondent did not respond to the accusation, therefore we take a default.
Thank you.
Any more questions for Ms. O'Connor? Thank you very much. We will now meet we will now close the session and meet in closed session.